time, he predicted there must be a hawk moth has such a long proboscis to pollinate and get nectar from this orchid. And 2 days later, this moth species is actually found in Madagascar, and it has this extremely long proboscis. Okay, this is a nice story. But if we take a step back, just think, why this orchid needs such a long nectar spurt, right? So one explanation is that if you have a longer nectar spurt, then the animal has to put its proboscis more into the nectar spurt, and its body will be closer to the pollens, so that will increase the plant's fitness. But if we look at this interaction from the moth point of view, if you have longer proboscis, it's also easier for moth to get the nectar. So under this kind of hypothesis, there will not be a flower phenotype that's optimized for both parties. They will be in constant conflict with each other. And this is nice, but I really like the fitness landscape or adaptive landscape metaphor. But how are we going to construct such a landscape to test those hypotheses? There are a few challenges. The first one we are facing is flower phenotype. They are so diverse. Is there a way that we can describe the diverse flower phenotype unbiasedly? And the second challenge is, how are we going to measure plant fitness and pollinator fitness? Let's walk through those challenges. So, this is David Robb. He's not interested in flower. He's interested in snails. So he used a mathematical equation to describe the snail shells. And by varying the parameter on his equation, he can get these rich morphologies on 2 dimensions. They include the snails that exist in nature. It also includes the shells that have never happened in nature. You might be wondering why this matters. The thing is, this really matters. Because if we want to understand why something is adaptive, we also want to understand why other things are not adaptive. But nature seldomly gives us this chance to explore why something is not adaptive. So, inspired by a similar idea, we can use a mathematical equation to describe flower morphologies. And here I'm showing you an example. By varying 2 parameters on our equation, we can generate this 2-dimensional morphospace. And this is corolla length, this is corolla curvature. For this talk, I'm going to talk about when we vary only along one axis, which is corolla curvature. And we use the 3D printer to print out those flowers with plastic. And then, let's look at our second challenge. So we're going to measure pollinators' fitness. We know what pollinator care is, how efficient I'm going to get nectar. In another sentence, if give me a fixed amount of energy, how much time that I need to spend to get it. So based on this idea, we have a nectar reservoir in our artificial flower, and I'm using an infrared light sensor to sense the change of nectar levels. And every time we give them a fixed amount of nectar, once it's emptied, I have this automatic nectar refiller. It can exactly refill 20 microliter every time. And for this experiment, I'm using hawk moth as a pollinator. Hawk moth is a nocturnal animal, so we put them in a dark flat chamber. I'm going to show this video. So when the moth comes, it will be detected by a machine vision algorithm, and it will automatically estimate how much time the moth spent in the proximity of the flower. And then when the moth is gone, the nectar will be refilled. And let's look at the data. So when we vary our flower curvature from minus infinity, which is almost flat flower, to -3, -1, which is a trumpet-shaped flower, and then to a bowl-shaped flower, we can see that the morph has the highest finish when the curvature is -1, which is a trumpet-shaped flower, which is the easiest for the moth to explore to get the nectar. And when it goes to the two extremes, the finish just decreases. So you only see 4 data points on this figure, which does not necessarily prove that I'm a lazy graduate student. Actually, they are from over 2,500 visits from over 150 moths. And this is possible only because we are empowered by those technologies, 3D printing, electronic sensors, so we can collect a large amount of data in a relatively small period. Okay, and the next challenge, how are we going to estimate plant finish? We know what plant care is, when its pollen going to transfer from its anther to another flower's stigma. And if the animal comes, the strong and more frequent physical interaction it has with the flower reproductive parts, the higher the chance pollen transfer, right? So based on this idea, so we use an accelerometer, which can record how strong the acceleration is when the animal comes. And here I'm going to show 2 videos. So the other video is a video when the flower curvature is generally changing. It's easy for the moth, and the other one is almost abruptly changing curvature. So on the upper panel is the nectar level. So at the beginning, the nectar level is high, and the moth has no problem to find the nectar. But once it touches the anther, it almost never touches it again. So this is showing the nectar level. It empties the nectar, so it never touches. And next video. So this one is more difficult. The moth will make mistakes when it's trying to get the nectar. But once it gets the nectar, it can find it, and because its body is so close to the anther, it makes contact all the time. And this morphology is not that good for the moth, but it's actually very good for the plants. So based on this kind of observation, how will you predict this plant finish curve will be like? So we know that pollinator finish is like this, right? Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to show this data. So as you can see that it's almost like reversely mirror with the pollinator finish. And this is actually the worst for the plants. So if we combine the 2 figures, we can see that clearly there is a strong conflict between the 2 parties, but which have never been explored before. And okay, this is nice. There is a conflict. But what next? Of course, you're wondering, how can this conflict of interest lead to diversification? And that's the direction I'm heading to. We know that flower has a diverse array of morphologies, and in nature they are presented to different pollinators, right? So if we imagine that we can have a diverse array of flower morphology populations, and we run an experimental evolution on the different pollinators, how will this population diverge? Will speciation happen? And here I'm showing some morphology that's also generated by extension of my equations. So this experiment just started, and what I'm showing is a hummingbird come to visit my reed. So here is showing when the bird put its tongue into the feeder, and here is showing how many contact the hummingbird has with my little accelerometer. So in general, we have a lot of examples in the nature which say that predator-prey, host parasite, sexual selection, all those conflicts, they can promote diversification. And maybe we can also add another case into this list, which is plant-pollinator interaction. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for your attention. Before any question, I have two announcements. The first announcement is that I'm from University of Washington. Our department is actually going to hire a lot of faculties. So if you are interested, you should go to look at the job post board. And the second announcement is I'm a graduate student. I'm going to graduate soon. I'm looking for a postdoc. So in one sentence, if you are looking for a postdoc, you come to talk to me. If you are looking for a faculty position, you will also come to talk to me. Okay, any questions? Okay, thank you.